Well, hello there, folks. Hope you're all doing really good today. If you've been following this little series along, this is going to be part 5 on my first guitar restoration. Okay, this is what I learned to play on growing up. I've had this guitar for roughly 45 years. Okay, the last video, we glued the fretboard back on. We reinforced the existing steel reinforcement that was there, which is just a rod. It's basically a stiffener. I put another section of rod over the top of it and filled the cavity and glued everything in. It's really straight. There's no back bow, no forward bow or anything right now the way it sits. So I'm thinking we're probably going to end up with a little bit of back bow after we install the fret wire, which is what we're going to do right now. So let's get to it. We're using fish glue for this. Bench Q comes out of Searsport, Maine. I got my little dish and a little fan brush. So that's what we're going to do. I got a rag all dampened and ready for the cleanup, and that's kind of how I go about it. Got a little fret hammer here. You know, it's got a dead blow on one side and it's rubber handled on the other. For you folks that don't play guitar and watch the channel, so I just would like to show you what this looks like. It's like a T, okay? Now it looks more like a T. And this is where your strings are going to ride on the top of the fret wire. And there's little barbs on this tang in the middle, and that's what holds them into the slot, okay? I just wanted to clear that up. I know some people that watch this channel that actually do not play guitar. They just like to watch the channel and see what I'm up to, I guess. Okay, so that explanation is for you folks. All right, let's get the glue out and get banging some fret wire in. Okay, well, first thing we're going to do is get some glue in there. I use this little fan brush. I use different types of glue doing this too. I've used white glue, like Tight Bond. There's, all kinds of different options out there. And it's totally up to you. I like using fish glue. It cleans up really nice and you get a little work time with it. Okay, so there's number one. Now this is a 0 fret guitar. And what that means, normally the strings would come out of the tuners and go over this nut, which has 6 notches in it for your strings. And then you would just have this fret and so forth. The 0 fret actually allows the strings to come through the nut, which is just going to space them apart at that point. And they actually ride on this first piece of fret wire. I guess it's easier to intonate them, and it's a little quicker probably in the production end of things. But in any case, we're putting it back in. That's the way it came. Okay, so let's get right on to number 2. I'm using medium fret wire here, okay? Just wanted to let you guys know that as well. And this board has no radius in it, so I'm keeping this fret wire pretty flat. And that means that this fretboard is basically flat without a radius. Sometimes they'll even cup, This one is starting to show a little cupping down here, but nothing we can't deal with, so all right, let's get number 2 started. Those are going in really nice, which is great. If they go in too tight, keep this in mind. If the tangs are really tight going in the slots, you could actually put back bow in this neck. Every time you put one in that's tight, it needs to grow, and that's how it grows. It makes a hump. So if it's going in too tight, then you need to recut your fret slots. Or get some fret wire with different tang, okay? So just keep that in mind. The worst case scenario is you're going to have to take the frets back out because you can't trust the neck or do anything to correct it. So just something to keep in mind, you know. Nobody tells you this stuff when you're first starting out. Sometimes you'll learn it the hard way, and that's no fun either. So, all right, let's get the next one in. All right. These are going in really nice, by the way. No complaints. They're sinking in there really nice and seating in there flat like they should. So, again, we're just going to keep putting a little fish glue underneath them. And this just helps to keep them from lifting up, you know. If the board shrinks, and the wood shrinks, the frets don't, so they'll actually grow and poke out through the sides. And then when you run your hand up and down the neck, I mean, you can literally cut your fingers and cut your hand. So we'll be cutting these off and dressing them off shortly. And after everything dries, we'll take a file and file all the ends off and start doing a fret ritual, I like to call it. I got a little bit too much glue that time, so I'm just going to go over and put a little in this next one, and we'll wipe that right out in a second. Another great thing about this type of glue, like I said, you got time to work with it, and it's pretty forgiving as far as the cleanup goes. Alright, let's knock another one right in behind that one. We got the glue right out, so here we go. There. This is actually a freebie this time. Well, I'm doing it myself, so obviously I'm not going to pay myself, but as far as the fret wire goes, after you always end up with a couple pieces left over, you know, usually from each fret job that I do, and I just kind of hang on to them. It's good in case you make a mistake or you cut a fret too short. It's good to have a spare and a little backup, but these have been piling up for quite a while, so I ended up having enough to refret the whole guitar just from leftover frets. Fret wire, I should say, from jobs, so that's a good thing, I guess. It's not expensive anyway. I mean, fret wire is only 15, 20 bucks. It's not a real expensive thing, but you're probably thinking, why do these guys charge so much to refret my guitar? It's not exactly what I'm doing right now. This is the easiest part of it, really, honestly. The prep work is grueling. It takes hours and hours. And after these frets go in, that's when all the fun starts. You get out your files and start going through all that. Your hands will be some tired and sore by the end of the day, trust me. Okay. Moving right along. You want to make sure that it's started in the slot good, too, when you do it. You don't want it rocked either way. You can chip the wood out on each side and bend the tang on the fret and that kind of stuff. Oh, my phone come off my little trapeze. Okay. So I want to wipe my hammer down a little bit too this time. No sense in keep transferring that along. Okay. Looking pretty good. All right, so let's roll everything down and keep knocking them in. Like I said, you know, once all the prep work's done, this is really the enjoyable part of refretting a guitar for me. It's not so much the prep work and the filing and, you know, pulling out the old frets. It's kind of tedious, but I've done worse jobs. sure you have too. All right, let's put one right in behind that one. And make sure we get it started in there good. There we go. Okay. I tried a few different camera angles for this, but honestly, at the end of the day, this is what it looks like. You know what I mean? There's no really other way I can show it. This is my view. This is just what it's going to look like when you're doing it too. So I figured this will be the way to do it from here out. I've tried a few camera angles shooting in from the end, which is kind of cool too, but you know, as a repairman, these guys that do this stuff and shoot videos of their work will tell you the same thing. Recording this stuff is the worst thing about working on guitars. The camera's in the way, you're trying not to get your hands in the way, there's always something, right? But at the end of the day, at least you get the information. That's the most important thing, really. And, you know, try this on an old guitar if you're unsure, or if you've never done this before. Don't just bail in because it looks easy on camera like I'm doing. I do go over prep work. You know, you got to cut these slots back out and clean everything out of these fret slots before you refret. And you should really measure them too, to make sure you got the right stuff going back in and you're not putting a tang in that's too wide. Like I said, you can actually bow these by using fret wire that's not the correct size. Okay, so take measurements, stick a piece of paper in there that's tight, and then measure it with a set of calipers. If you don't have any feeler gauges, you know, measure the old fret wire that you took out. That's another good way to tell. And you should do that before you order fret wire. Anyways, you got to know what you're going to be putting in. There's all kinds of different styles. Well, not styles, but there's all kinds of different widths and heights with fret wire. And I seem to like this medium, honestly. It works really good for me. It's a good feel. The string's been pretty easy. I don't really like the thin, tall frets, and I'm not a super fan of big, wide jumbos. I just like the standard medium, I guess. It seems to be what most of my guitars have on them anyway. So I want them to feel kind of similar. And it's not a learning curve when you switch from one guitar to the other. Okay, we're almost there, guys. Get this one started. Alright, I guess I just weren't holding it right. As you can see, these are going in quite easy, so that's what you want. They should have some resistance, though. You don't want them to fall out. You shouldn't be able to push them in with your bare hands. You can start them in with your bare hands, but if you can push the fret in and sink it into the slot, then you need wider tang. Okay, that's the last one. Now for the cleanup. Yeah. Just trying to remember how many guitars I've done this to since I started this channel. I've done quite a few refrets on camera, you know. I think most of my guitars are all refretted now, so It'll probably be mostly customers from here out getting this stuff done, but unless I wear some more out real quick, which doesn't seem to be the case lately. I seem to be working on guitars more than playing them, but that's okay. It's enjoyable both to do both for me anyways. I don't mind, but some days I'd rather play guitar than work on them. Okay, I see one fret right here that's boy, the rest of those look really good. So if you look at this angle, I'm going to take you guys down in here so you can see. I mean, as best you can. That 0 fret, I may need to tap that one down a little bit more too. You can see a little gap under it, right? The rest of them seem to be really good. Like I said, this is a flat board, so I'll fix that dent. I'll fill that in with some glue or something and razor blade it off. So we're going to let these just dry like they are, and then I'll snip them off tomorrow morning, and we'll start filing the edges. And really, there won't be a whole lot left. I do have to fix this little broken spot on the nut, or change the nut. I think I have a few here, so I may do that. And I've got a bridge started, a saddle, so we may be able to get this one up and running tomorrow, hopefully. I got to put this tuner back together. I was looking around to see if I had any other tuners. I don't think I do, but we'll see. I do know some little tricks to tighten these up too, so we'll try that, see how it goes. Okay, this is getting to be a long one, I know, but thanks for sticking with me, guys. I'm really kind of getting excited to hear this guitar again. It wasn't a great sounding guitar. It was okay. It was just what it was, I'm just curious to hear it again. Like I said, I've had this for over 45 years. And kind of relive what it sounded like playing the first chords on it again. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to hang her up for the night. We'll see you guys real soon. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't. We'll see you soon. Okie doke.